We will now hear from the Unified Commission candidates, and we'll start out with introductory remarks. Candidates have a minute and a half, and we'll start with Harold Johnson. Harold?
Thank you. My name is Harold Johnson. I am the 4th District Commissioner. Been a long time Wyandotte County, all my life. Lived in 4th District the majority of my life. Went to school at Sumner Academy, graduated also from Kansas City, Kansas Community College. My background is in the area of banking, where I worked over 22 years working with nonprofits and organizations that are throughout the community, where I learned a good deal about business development. I'm also the pastor at the Faith Deliverance Family Worship Center on 30th Street there. One of the things that I'm most proud of and I want to talk to immediately is that we talked about in my last campaign what was important to me. And one of the things that was most important to me was that we have a vision. I do consider myself a visionary in that regard, and I know how to work to create one and how to execute one. So right now we have master plans that are being executed throughout our community and certainly in the 4th District. I think that in doing so, it requires a certain amount of focus, a certain temperament as well, to not only get it started, but to finish it. I believe we got some great things started. I think we need time to continue to finish those things and work on other projects that we have that will benefit the quality of life for all of our persons in Wyandotte County, but particularly for those that are on the eastern corridor of Wyandotte County. So thank you very much for having me here. Look forward to the discussion going forward from now.
Okay. Stephen?
How you doing? My name is Stephen James. Thank you for having me here tonight. I've been here for 39 years in Wyandotte County. I went to school at Hawthorne, Fairfax, Wyandotte High School. I've seen this city when it was a metropolis. I've seen it in the later times as it's been falling down. The infrastructure has been in need of a great need of change and fixing. I've seen a lot of people not know what's going on within our community. We've always asked what's going on with the BPU bill, with the pilot. We all know that pilot is part of a payment that comes to the commissioners. The BPU board just takes control of that for us. But no one actually knows what it's being used for. Hopefully, as me being commissioner, I can bring light to the community on what actually is being used with our tax dollars, what our money is actually going forth to be used for in our community. What are we actually doing to help our community change? Right now, I work for KU University. I'm a community health worker within the community. A community health worker is kind of like a concierge. I put people in line with the things that they need within the community. At this point in time, there's a very big need for people to actually be put in contact with programs and grants and things within this community. Hopefully, I can bring in a change that can take away the obstruction between the community and the government, and maybe work with the community and bring light to that the government is part of the community and the community is part of the government, and we can work together and make this change.
Mary?
Yes, my name is Mary Gerlt. I'm running for 3rd District Commissioner, and I have lived in Wyandotte County for a little bit here. I lived in the Kansas City, Missouri side for several years. I'm very interested in what's going on in Wyandotte County. When I moved here, I just noticed some differences from where I was from, and the main thing that concerns me is I would like to increase the peace and the freedom and the prosperity of this community, and I think we can do that by empowering the people, simplifying the rules that surround our lives and the unified government, and I think we can definitely do that by lowering our property taxes, and there's a number of ways we can do that, namely through how much money we put into TIF infrastructure projects and the likes of that. I also think that some of our tax dollars can be much better spent on things like restoring our sidewalks and just basic things that are already there, instead of trying to create something new that people may or may not have asked for. what I've been hearing from other people is that they're just looking for those basic services. They just want to have their community centers back. They want to have those classes back that they're used to, and just, the roads and the schools and things like that just everybody counts on. So that's what I have to share with you. Thank you very much.
Christian?
Hello, my name is Christian Ramirez. I am also running for District 3 Commissioner. My family has roots in the district. My grandfather moved here from Mexico. He immigrated and he made shop here in Argentina. By giving back to the community, he helped build a store. He had a store, general store, very profitable. Everybody loved going to his store. But unfortunately, in the 51 flood, it was destroyed. But with that, he made sure he taught my mother, and my mother taught me to always give back to your community. And this is my way of giving back to my community. Our voices are not being heard in our local government. People are shouting, but yet no one is hearing it, especially in the people of South Rosedale, where their infrastructure is horrible. They only have one road. They need improved streets. They need sidewalks so that their children can walk safely to school. And that's why I'm running, because for so long we've been promised a lot and nothing has come through. And that's why I'm running, because I'm not going to make promises that I can't make. I will not make a promise and break it, because then that means I'm not doing my job as a commissioner. That means my job, because I view any elected official as a job applicant and the boss. Us candidates, we are a job applicant. The people are the bosses. Every election is a review of how well we're doing. And I think it's time the people have another chance to review the current incumbent and find a message that resonates better with them, that'll live with them, that will listen to them, and that will give them a better chance at their life here in this county.
Okay. Terrence?
Thank you. I am Terrence Maddox, and I am running for the office of Unified Government Commissioner, 4th District. I served as the 4th District Commissioner from 2012 to 2015, and so this is somewhat familiar to me. Got a lot of things done in my first 4 years in office. Had a little bit of turmoil in there, but as I've aged, I've learned, I've matured, and I'm glad to be back on this campaign trail. I have deemed myself, as my campaign slogan, the urgent option. If anyone is to drive through the 4th District of Kansas City, Kansas, you will see the urgent need for change and different things to take place in the 4th District. And I'm calling myself the urgent option because we are running out of time. 3-year, 4-year window before things really start to fall apart in this district. And so, again, I'm deeming myself the urgent option. I have a 7-step urgency plan. That 7-step urgency plan is, 1, a safer community. We have so much crime going on in the 4th District. We want to get a hold on that. So sit down and talk with the new incoming police chief when we find out who that is. We want to work on some key crime area spots and get some things going as far as safety in our community. Number 2 is infrastructure emphasis. We must have better infrastructure if we're going to really develop the area of most need. Budget priorities. I think there's a budget that happens every year, but I don't know that the priorities are where they need to be. And so what I want to do is listen to the citizens and get those priorities back into the budget. Number 4, I want the community upkeep, which is codes and development. Oh, more time. I got 2 more left, but I'll get them later.
Quickly.
Oh, okay, quickly. Thank you, Mr. Bland. 5th is economic development and community development. If we are going to have a sustainable district, we need more rooftops and we need more community development and economic development in the 4th District of Kansas City, Kansas. 6 is youthful opportunities. If you talk to the average young person, they move out of our community because they say there are not enough opportunities for young people. Number 7 is a firm advocacy at every level. I'm going to speak up for the citizens of the 4th District at every level. And right now, I feel like we lack that in the 4th District of Kansas City, Kansas.
Thank you. Jorge?
Thank you, sir. My name is Jorge Flores, and I was born and raised here in Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas. My we are first generation. My parents were born and raised in Mexico, and they came over to the United States, and they were able to create an amazing life here. Originally from Armadale, then we moved over by Central, and then to the 4th District. I went to Amy Pearson Elementary School, then I went to Central Middle School, graduated from Wyandotte High School, then I graduated from KCK Community College, then I went over to University of Kansas City, Missouri, and graduated with my undergrad in Criminal Justice and Communication Studies. During that time, I also became a full-time police officer with Kansas City, Kansas Police Department, and during that same time, I also started a business, a real estate company that I now run a full real estate team. I left the police department to run for office because I had the great opportunity of working hand in hand with the community. Being a police officer was one of the most amazing foundations that one could probably have to run for commissioner, because you understand what the people need, what they see during the best and the worst of their times, and you truly hear what is going on out there besides the times when you just go knock on their door to ask for a vote. You actually know how you can help them and what they actually need. My goal as a commissioner is really to focus on the young community, and I want everyone's children out there to look at me and see a role model and be able to turn around and say, I want to be like him to help just be overall better in our community.
Melissa?
Hello, my name is Melissa Bynum, and I am the current at-large District 1 Commissioner for the Unified Government. I'm running for re-election. And I'm proud of the work that we've done together and the momentum that we have here in Wyandotte County. It's visible to folks both inside the community and those who are outside of our community. I want to thank Business West and the Community College for hosting us here tonight at the forum. And I also want to express appreciation for my opponent that's here tonight, Mr. James. I appreciate the work that he does, and I also know and appreciate the courage that it takes to place your name on the ballot and ask for folks to consider you for this. So I do appreciate him very much. I'd be remiss if I didn't stop and thank the countless individuals, organizations, churches, and neighborhood groups who work each and every day in this community to make Wyandotte County a better place. I regularly work with both for-profit and nonprofit groups. I do that in a spirit of collaboration. I do that so that we can continue the successes we've achieved, both before my election and certainly since. Accomplishments that I'm proud of are numerous, but I will start with the immediate joining with Commissioner Townsend and Johnson to create an opportunity for people in the northeast area of Wyandotte County to create their own vision for what they want in the community. We came together, we worked together collaboratively, we reached out to the community, and we now have an adopted master plan for the northeast area. I thank you for being here tonight.
Now we'll turn to questions from Mary Rupert, and we'll start with Melissa.
Thank you. The UG is currently discussing this budget, and I'm interested in your opinion on what should be done about the possible shortfall in revenues. Should the UG, well, there's been a lot of different options discussed. Should they use their reserves or their fund balances to deal with a couple of million shortfall in revenues, or should they cut more from the budget? Should they reduce the number of capital projects? Should they reduce, or rather, should they increase fees or taxes? And some of these options were being discussed also for next year in terms of the budget following this year. So if you answer more than one of these, how much of a percentage for each one would you support? And explain the reasoning behind your answers. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a really long question. The point is, in our current budget cycle, we are getting ready to adopt very soon our 2020 budget. This budget has been more challenging than the previous budgets that I've been honored to be able to work on. And you may or may not know, but in the last 3 consecutive budget cycles, we've been able to deliver 2 mills of city mill levy reduction in each of those 3 mills for a total reduction of 6 mills. So with regard to our budget, the current budget shortfall is between $2 and $3 million, and the suggestion is that we use our reserves. I certainly, absolutely do not support raising taxes at any level to cover that shortfall. The current plan is to use the reserves. We have the reserves, fortunately, because of the good times in the economy that we've been able to enjoy. And don't forget the $12 million, 10 to 12 million in sales tax revenues that we've been able to begin collecting now that the Star Bond project has paid off. So that has helped us to build a reserve. That's what a reserve is for. And now we're going to use a small portion of it. I hope that answers your question.
Jorge, your response.
Yes, sir. I think that when we look at budget, we need to look at what we've done in the past so we can move forward and make better decisions on spending. The budget, from what I learned, has increased, which is, it's great for our community, but we also need to focus on what projects are ongoing and where that new budget is going. We got to make sure that the decisions we make benefit the community and not just benefit certain people. In order to have a balanced budget in our community, we need to start paying attention to what's happening before and after that money is spent. We have spent so much money on projects, and these projects end up bringing us back down to where we started. We've had businesses that have been started. You can think about, just an example, a simple store that's built in a specific district is then deteriorated and brought all the way back down, and now we're looking at that store being gone because we didn't take care of it. If we don't take care of what we have and we continue to spend, then we're just spending for nothing. So we need to be more responsible with our budget and what we do with the money and start listening to our individuals out there, our community, to make sure that that is what they want done with that money.
Terrence?
Thank you. I think Commissioner Bynum pretty much laid the groundwork for what was going to take place in the upcoming budget. If I had to add my 2 cents in, with the experience that I've had over 4 years and working with the budget in the unified government, there's a lot of flack in different departments and different line items. And I think if the commission fine-tooth combed the budget and actually went line item for line item, I think you could find flack and remove some things that don't need to be necessarily financed or purchased to find extra revenue. Now, here's the interesting thing. During budget season, a commissioner receives a book with over 300 to 400 pages in it, and they want you to read it at your own leisure and find out what's there and what's not there. And if you just happen to really understand how budgeting works, because some people don't even know how to budget their own home, but if you really just understand how the budget works, you will find that there are a lot of line items where money is actually there, where people haven't even received the money. Money is going in certain areas where it was supposed to be cut off by a certain date or time, and it's 2 years after the fact, and we're still giving them the money. There's a bunch of flack in the budget, and I just kind of was fine to comb in minds, and I would find a lot of things there. And so I think that the commission at some point, I know the retreat, there used to be a retreat that happened before the budget where commissioners discussed the priorities, but I think just really fine to comb in the budget and looking line item for line item, you can find some things that we need to do away with, and there's some priorities there that we actually need to put more funding in or actually add in. So that's what I would do.
Thank you. Christian?
So, and I read a wonderful article by Ms. Rupert about this, about the budget hearing and everything. I would say I would be okay with the one-time use of reserve funds to help with the shortfall that we have. But I'm afraid that that's not what's going to happen. I'm afraid that if we do it once, we may do it again next year and then the following, and not really get to the root cause of the problem, and just try to fix it as we go. I think the real thing, I think what we really need to do is really look at the development agreements that we've already made and reevaluate them and see if they're actually good for the community, if they're actually bringing in good amount of revenue into the county. And that's the best way, because those are the ones, because with these development agreements, we're using economic incentives, TIFs, SIDs, STAR bonds, which are good economic vehicles to develop our county. But we have to use them the right way and in the best interest of the community that they're going to be used in. So I think what we need to, that's the biggest for me, is reevaluating and looking at the development agreements that we had and see where we're giving too much and we're receiving less than what we've been given or what we're giving away.
Mary?
Yes, I think the best way to recover anything for the budget is to definitely look at eliminating, or at least the ones that have recently been proposed, any of these TIF or STAR bonds that have been proposed. To echo what Jorge had said, it's unfair to favor one business over another with tax dollars that we have worked hard to earn and have been taken from us, and now they're being used for projects that we may or may not have approved. And as he pointed out, these projects, they often fail. Whenever the tax benefits run out, these businesses will often pull up stakes because they either can't afford to operate there anymore or it's not profitable. I really strongly believe that you cannot artificially create economic benefit in an area with tax dollars. I don't believe that you can tax yourself into prosperity. If there's potential for an area to have a market for something, then it will happen. The free market will happen, and that is a fact. Just to echo why tax increment financing, the TIF that we're talking about, and STAR bonds and the like, are really not appropriate. They often set a precedent so that other businesses that want to come in, they don't want to come in unless they can get a similar deal. So like, oh, well, you got this tax abatement, I want to get that tax abatement too. And then nobody else wants to come into that area. Or, even worse, a lot of times these, large players who get these deals, they have language written into the agreement that says that other businesses cannot establish themselves in that area because they want to control the type of people or the type of businesses, the type of clientele that's in that area. That's also not fair. I strongly believe that it is unconstitutional to pursue economic development this way, and I think that by limiting it or eliminating it, we can definitely have a very wonderful, robust budget.
Stephen?
A lot of the candidates have already said a lot of what I'm about to say. I could say across the board we could do cuts or we could raise across the board, but who has the money? Businesses have up and down seasons, so I would say use our reserves because at times we have great business years and at times we have down seasons. So that's why we save. So the reserves would come in handy at this point in time. Now I would ask why we were short this year, and will we continue to have a downturn and continue to have this issue, or was this a mishap of misuse of funds this year, and can we find out where these funds were used and why were they used? Who wants more taxes? Nobody wants more taxes. Initially, I came out to start to run for this program, for this office because I want to bring light to the youth of this community. We need to invest in our youth a lot more. We invest in streets, we invest in Leavenworth Road, we invest in bridges and things of that nature, but we need to invest in the people a lot more. We can pay businesses to come here all the time, but are they going to stay here when we aren't investing in the people of the community? Until we invest in the people of the community and find out where we're losing money on the back end, we will never get out of the hole that we're in. It's a simple answer. We need to find out where money is going, stop it from going to the wrong places, and put it to the places that we need it to go to. Also, we need to work more with the community to find out where they exactly want the money to go to. Sometimes we invest in things, well, I don't invest, the commission board invests in things that they feel the community wants. I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. I got more to go, but
Harold?
Thank you. It's already been noted that a few years ago, we reduced the meal levy. 3 straight years we reduced the meal levy by 2 meals. The thing that motivated us to do that is because we continue to hear that our property taxes are too high. What people don't think about oftentimes is that when you do that, it takes about a year before you really realize the impact of that decision. And so I think one of the reasons why we see the shortfall right now is because we did, in fact, try to enact what was held to us by our constituent bases, that we reduced the property tax levy. If you look at a meal, one meal is about $1 million. So if you look at that over 6 meals, that's about $6 million. Our budget shortfall, if we hadn't made those decisions, we wouldn't have the budget shortfall that we have right now. So we don't have a choice really but to go into the reserves, and I'm telling you, I'm one of the big, that's my thing that says time, so the sign is not up yet, so I'll keep going. We have not had a time where to look at where we're going in the future. In terms of right now, so we have to go into our reserves for right now. I'm one of the ones who continue to say we need to watch that reserve fund. As we look forward into the future, I'm going to, for instance, as we go into the 2020 budget, I'm saying that we need to hold the mill, not reduce it any further. Let the real estate market kind of rebound and see where we are, and then think about more mill levies in the future. What I'm looking for in the future is more what I would call a priority-based budgeting. That's what we're going to be doing more in the future. That's going to systematically show us the areas that we need to make adjustments. So we'll make the adjustment with regard to the reserve fund this time. I think that in future years we're about set with the priority-based budgeting that will assist us to make those decisions better. Thank you.
Now we'll turn to J.D. Rios for the next question, and we'll start with Harold Johnson. Harold?
Thank you. What is your position on the unified government issuing a municipal ID? And please state why or why not.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great program. One of the things that we don't highlight enough in Wyandotte County is that we are an international community. We have people from so many different backgrounds, and I think we are a great melting pot of persons, and I don't think we celebrate that enough. From our very history, from the beginning of our history, we've been a great melting pot of persons. And it's a shame that we're seeing such vitriol going on in our country that I think that tends to lend itself to the dialogue that happens in local communities. I think the municipal ID is something that will aid those persons who want to be able to enjoy just a good quality of life in Wyandotte County. And it's a way that we can better celebrate the differences that make us who we are. I love the fact that everybody doesn't look like me. I love who I am, but I love everyone else that is in this community. So I think we should do what we can to make sure that we're working towards that end to make this a legislation in Wyandotte County. So thank you.
Stephen?
I'm over here Googling a municipal ID right now because I really didn't know what municipal. Can I Google it real quick? Such as a city rather than a state or federal government. Okay. Really, I don't understand why we would need a municipality ID, although Kansas is one of the greatest melting pots of the nation. At Wyandotte, I think it's like 16 or 17 different dialects spoken. If going to the restroom is like baño is in, the bathroom is in like 8 different languages. So I really, just having an ID, I don't really put a distinction on race. Really, that's not a big issue with me at all. The distinction, I don't even understand why this question is even on the ballot right now. I don't, really, it's a hard question for me to answer because I really don't have a distinction with race. It's not needed for me.
Mary?
I would say that my personal feeling is that in general, I'm not in favor of mass ID programs because personal privacy is so important to me as value. But I can get behind the idea of the ID, that it's something there to help those in our community have a way to identify themselves in town who may not legally be able to obtain other ID, like a state ID or something like that. So I can support the idea of it because I definitely want to support those who are here in our community who are working and living with us and interacting with us. I would just be in favor of not making it mandatory. Those of us who already have driver's licenses and things like that, I don't see where it's really necessary.
Christian?
I 100% agree with instituting a municipal ID because it provides basic essential services to everyone within our borders of our county. Everyone, no matter where you're from, who you are, it doesn't matter. You live within our borders, we should be able to provide for you no matter what. And that's a basic right that you should be given what food, water, a home. These are basic rights, and a municipal ID will help everyone receive those basic rights.
Terrence?
Thank you. I'm sitting here just really trying to ponder the idea of a municipal ID versus a driver's license or a state-issued ID, and I'm trying to understand what would be the difference. I'm all for identification, and I think about the issues we've had in the past. The last 3 years, we've had a couple incidents in which a few people who were undocumented. I think there was a triple homicide one time, different things. But I'm not sure that even if we didn't know that this person didn't have an ID, we still don't find out till after the fact. And so I'm trying to find out what the direct ramification is, or how would a municipal ID supersede a driver's license or a state-issued ID, or even the thought of, I want to know how much it would cost. Is this another cost that's added on, that people have to pay in the city, and then where's the revenue go from? I mean, what does the revenue go toward? Like, these are the questions that I'm asking myself. I'm not very on top of this question at the moment, but I do think that everybody who lives in this country should be documented. We have an issue with terrorism. We have an issue with people that are coming into our borders that we do not know, and they may create crime and different things of that nature. So I'm all for identification, but I don't know how a city-issued municipal ID is different than what's already regulated, which is a driver's license or a state ID to do anything you want to do within the state.
Jorge?
Working in law enforcement, I came across a lot of individuals who just didn't have any identification. The importance of having identification it's the reason why this issue is currently ongoing. We never know who we're going to stop, or who's behind the wheel, what they're doing, or what they're going to do. If we can't identify them at that moment, then we can't identify them once they arrive at their destination and break the law, or maybe just arrive at work. We just don't know, but we need to know. This helps us identify who individuals are, and this also helps people in general just feel more comfortable getting a job, going to work, being able to drive, and be identified. It doesn't hurt anyone for people to be known. It doesn't hurt anyone for us to know who they are. It actually helps law enforcement. It helps keep our community safer, because when a crime happens, or when they are a victim of a crime, we can identify who they are, and they can identify themselves. We can track them better. They can actually build their own record. They can build a good record, or they can build a bad record. It's true that maybe if they don't have one, we won't identify them, or even if they do have one, we'll identify them later, but at least we'll identify them. They'll be in some kind of system. There's so many people out there right now that are driving without no driver's license, without any ID, that are a huge risk. We've had several severe crimes out there where people have just disappeared who we've had no idea who they are, and we still don't know who they are because we couldn't track them. They just don't exist in the system. It was easy for me to be able to pull someone over, and they can just give me a fake name. I'd run them through our database, nothing came back, or someone else came back who didn't match that description. It just doesn't make sense not to have some kind of format for us to be able to identify people, but solely for that basis of identification.
Melissa?
The concept of a municipal ID, as it's currently being discussed in Wyandotte County and Kansas City, Kansas, is such that those who might otherwise have a difficult time securing ID would have this as an option. So in its current form, it certainly is not a mandatory program. It could serve a variety of different populations in our community, including the elderly, which is a population that I work with every single day in my job. So it's possible that such a program could be free and provided at no cost. So there's a very real possibility that securing a municipal ID wouldn't necessarily incur a financial burden on the person who would like to have it. The concept is such that it would be available so that people who are here could work or bank or enroll their children in school. And so my remaining questions about the institution of a municipal ID in this community are questions that I'm going to need to work with those who are requesting that we institute this, as well as institutions like the public library, the KCK Community College, all of our various school districts, our banks. I would like to have assurance from all of those places that if the unified government were to be the body that creates a municipal ID program and takes on what surely will be a cost, although we are told that in other cities the cost was not necessarily insignificant but not high. But if we create that, then we need to know, are our partner institutions going to accept it and allow it as a valid form of ID? So those are my remaining questions with regard to a municipal ID for Wyandotte County. It is, however, a concept that could be useful here across a variety of populations.
Now we're going to move to closing remarks, and we will start with Melissa.
I have so much that I didn't get to say yet, so I'm going to go really fast. I'm just so proud of what together we've been able to do in Wyandotte County. There are a number of programs that we've been able to bring forward. I'm particularly proud of working with Kansas City, Kansas Community College and Donnelly College to create the University Pass program, and if you don't know about it, it takes a student ID and makes it into a Ride KC Transit Pass for anywhere Ride KC will take you. That is access to jobs, that is access to education. So I'm super proud of the work that I've done to bring that forward for our students in this community. There are so many others that I don't have time to name. I'll just hope to visit with you later. I have a number of endorsements from organizations who have seen fit to endorse my reelection, and I'm really proud to have those. But what I'm most proud of is the endorsement from you, the voter, and I certainly hope that you'll mark that ballot for Bynum for Commissioner on August 6th. Thank you.
Jorge?
Thank you. So there's something I want to say, just because there is two great individuals that are also running for this commission seat, and that is there are battles you win even if you lose. And I would tell you that none of us sitting here lose anything, because we're up here and we're fighting for something that we care about, and that's our community and the people in it. I can tell you that I was born and raised in Wyandotte County. I've spent my whole life here. I went to school here. I worked here. I served my community here. I was out there fighting crime. I was dealing with a lot of bad people, and I was dealing with a lot of good people. I created a business, and now I'm leading younger individuals into that role to be able to be their role model, to lead them into just create overall a better generation of individuals, because there is a lot of crime happening out there. There's a lot of bad happening out there every day. I'm also very proud of the awards I've received as a young individual. I was first in my class in the police academy. I was given 2 awards for valor with the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department, and I was nominated as one of the top individuals in Kansas City, Kansas, and for the Business Journal. I do serve on 2 boards. I specifically serve with the secretary with the Board of El Centro, and I'm glad to be able to help our community there as well. I'm inspired to see younger individuals run for office. I would love to diversify our government and be able to offer more. And I'll tell you that I will be here regardless if I win or not, and I'm excited to continue working with our community and with our current commissioners, and I wish everybody luck. Thank you.
Terrence?
Vote for Maddox. Oh, I thought I could get that off during the baseball season. I thought I could get that off. Okay. I simply want to say this with my closing remarks. I've been here all of my life. I've seen a lot of what happens in our community. I've served a lot. Currently, I have over 5,000 hours of community service. When it comes to working in the community, my resume is very in-depth. I've been in different places, sat at different tables. I've heard various people and their different concerns across the board. And so what I want to do, just as I did in my first term in office, I want to continue to work with the community activists. I want to continue to work with the neighborhood associations, precinct committeemen, committee women, whatever we can do to all get on the same page to be able to make our community a better place. But what I offer most is a staunch advocate. I get on that plane, I go to Washington, D.C., I move around. I'm still field coordinator for NBC LEO, which is the National Black Caucus of Elected Officials. I sit in various rooms where I've been able to bring programs back to this city, many that you know of, many that you do not know of. If you want to find out more, you're on Facebook. Most people are on Facebook. Find my Facebook page and just scroll down. You'll see the many attributes that I've been able to be involved in. You'll be able to see the many awards that I've been able to receive just being active in this community. And so I'm going to continue to work in this, whether I'm in this office or not, and I want to congratulate everybody on this elected panel, because money is spent, sweat and tears is spent, and I want to say congratulations to all you guys in advance. Even if you do not win, you use your voice to be able to want to make a difference.
Christian?
Thank you. First, thank you, Business West, for putting this on, and thank you all to the candidates for taking the courage to run or rerun for election. After tonight, voters have 2 options, 2 ways to vote. They can vote for the status quo, or they can vote for change. I'm ready to run in my district and help my community grow in every facet of their life. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves, get my hands dirty, and put my community first and make sure they're taken into the future together, not as 2 individual communities. Thank you, and I hope you vote for Christian Ramirez on August 6th for Commissioner District 3.
Mary?
Yes, I just want to emphasize that I think that I would be a great choice for the 3rd District Commissioner position, because I do know how to budget at home and at work. Anybody who knows me knows that I am almost a pathologically frugal person. And I have worked in property management, commercial property management, for nearly a decade, and so I'm very familiar with the impact of taxes on a building, on a business, and just exactly what that means. I strongly believe that if we can stop falsely creating economic benefits, which at the end of the day are no benefit at all by the time we have our taxes raised over 230% in 2 years, which was between 2015 and 2017, which basically just goes to cover these TIF infrastructure projects that offsets our budget. I think that we'll be able to create a much more practical benefit system that's actually desired by the people who've lived here their whole lives. I'm running to defend the freedom and increase the prosperity of each individual resident in Wyandotte County and focus on the basic elements we need, like youth programs for the kids, which is actually what people have been telling me a lot that they want. So I want to be the voice that everybody hears. I want your voice to be what's heard, not mine, in the unified government. I want to give you a chance to be heard. My name is Mary Gerald, and I'm running for 3rd District Commissioner. Please vote for me August 6th.
Stephen?
Okay. I could get up here and say I'm going to walk in the office and make a boatload of changes. We all know this first year will be a learning curve for me. I'll come in there, I'll work with the commissioners at hand, figure out what needs to be done and how I can work with them and maybe make a partnership, because this is not a dictatorship, it's a partnership between all the commissioners and the community. I'll also make sure that I'm always out here in the community. People, if you've seen me out here, I'm always out here. I'll always be a listening ear to the community. You woke up, shake my hand. Ask me what I'm doing, how my day was. I ask you how your day was. You see me in the grocery store, ask me why this is and why that is. I'll tell you as much as I know. I just want to be an open ear and an open heart to my community and make the changes that we need in our community. Vote Stephen James, August 6th.
Okay, Harold?
Thank you, Merrill, and Business West for this opportunity to have this dialogue. And I also want to thank my opponents, Brother Maddox and Brother Flores. I think the dialogue that we are having right now is something that our nation could learn from, instead of all of the fighting and bickering that we see on public TV, on national TV. I have the experience, I have the proven results, the temperament in the sense that I'm focused. I know how to build coalition amongst my peers, and I know how to create and to execute a vision. It's happening right now. Right now we're seeing unprecedented growth economically in 4th District. It's not perfect. We have a long way to go, but we see a new facility. Donnelly College is building a brand new facility on 18th Street. We see the school district investing in the new Carl B. Bruce Middle School on 18th Street. Right now, ground is being broken for the first affordable housing complex in the 4th District in decades. It's an $11 million project. So it is happening. We're moving forward. We can curse the darkness, or we can light a candle. I'm going to ask you to light a candle with me on August 6th. My name is Harold Johnson. Thank you so much.
Let's give all the candidates a hand. We are adjourned.